Let's just settle however we're feeling today. Just know however it is you're turning up this evening, it's perfectly fine. And maybe just reflect a little bit on your day. What's been happening for you today? How's your mind been? So, often in life, we don't really give ourselves the opportunity just to stop and be still and reflect. So it's excellent that you're all coming along and doing that this evening. So let's just start with feet flat on the floor for those of you who are sitting in a chair, about a hip's width apart, sitting on top of your sits bones, shoulders aligned with the hips. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. Take a nice deep breath. Just keep lengthening your spine. And then, almost as if you're drawing an arc on the ceiling with a crayon that's taped to the top of your skull. Just allow your head to tip slightly forward. The chin comes down, a little bit of length in the back of the neck. And the eyes would be down, looking along the length of the nose. If they were open, the tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And just relax the jaw. And bring all your awareness to the crown of the head now. Relax the scalp on the top of the head and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks. The jaw, back of the tongue, the back of the skull, particularly at the base, the occipital area. Relax the back of the neck and allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax all the limbs and the belly. And then just notice if there's any sounds in your environment. Just allow them to be there. And then just observe in a little bit more detail what's arising in the mind. And then you can categorize some of those thoughts. I mean, if you can't categorize them, you can just say, label them as simply as I'm thinking, or I'm planning, or I'm reflecting, or I'm creating a story, or I am remembering an interaction and I'm layering a story on top of that. Our minds are quite complicated. And then maybe you can just put those thoughts, put that story, images, whatever comes with that story, on a little lotus or a little white fluffy cloud. You can choose. You can maybe even pop some of those thoughts in a helium balloon and just
unknown caller.
Let it fall off into space. I'm so sorry. And let that balloon disappear off into space. Bring the mind back to the breath. And then just place ourselves on the bank of our river. And just notice how that river is moving this evening. Is it running smoothly? Is it running slowly? Is it kind of choppy? Is it calm on the surface or rough underneath? with the debris in the water. And then just remember, while as long as we're sitting on the bank of that river watching it, we're free from the river. And now bring to mind all those people of our life. So our loved ones, the ones we don't love so much. In this particular context, they are labeled the enemy. And then there's our strangers. And we need to remember that these separate groups of people can be changing place at any time. And despite how we feel about them, they're all equal. And they wish to be happy and they wish to be free from suffering. And in having this unbelievable capacity for an enlightened mind, just like you. So then we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And I've been thinking about our dear friend Hin lately because I haven't seen her for a few days. So let's just keep her in our hearts in case she's not very well. Well, we know she's not very well, but she might be having a little bit more difficulty than normal. So just keep her in our hearts. So imagine remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. And we create negativity with our mind so we can change that by creating positivity instead. So we start with this 4 opponent powers, with this first one, which is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any of this future suffering that we will experience. We know from our present suffering, we don't like it. And so logically, it makes sense that we would remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not looking for Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're not looking for this higher power. We are looking for a doctor who will heal us, who has the medicine, the methods that we can use to do the work ourselves. So here we have our beautiful Vajrasattva. So imagine an image similar to this above the crown of your head. You don't have to think so much detail, but you just need to get a vibe, a feel for the energy of this particular Buddha above the crown of your head. You can also imagine, if you like, this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And you can imagine he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful face, radiant white face, and sweet red lips. His eyes are long, shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, and the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then you can remember maybe someone who's harmed you. And just develop a wish for them to be free from suffering, because the harm they've caused you is going to manifest as suffering for them in the future. And make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings, and think I must purify for their sake. And now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sending powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of all of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutukaya meboa supokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, supokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hompe. So be delighted that any harm you've done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with the body. So next is the purification of our speech, and you can imagine Vajrasattva very happily sending powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech, including yourself. So the next is the mind. And imagine Vajrasapa very compassionately sending powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. This arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch. The light instantly dispels the darkness. So you can, just as same here, the light from Vajrasapa's heart hits your heart chakra. All the darkness of the negativity of your mind, and depression, attachment, neediness, desire, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, all of these kind of feelings instantly dispelled as we recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajama Mimutsa Vajabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, and Vajasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajamami Mutsa Vajabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, and Vajasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajamami Mutsa Vajabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, and Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anurakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriam Kuruhum, Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, and these are the cause of all of our own suffering and why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness, and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negative energy from body, speech, and mind. So just imagine light and nectar pouring into you, filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Excuse me. Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And the fourth step in this purification process, and a really crucial one, is this determination to not harm with your body, speech, and mind, or to refrain from it at least. And without this determination, without this decision, we're just going to keep doing the same things over and over again. You know, we have these habits and they form grooves, even in our neural pathways. So the way for those to atrophy is to just stop doing them and creating new positive neural pathways. And it is possible. It can be done. We just have to work at it a little bit. So we start small, humbly. Start with something that is maybe easy for you to do. Don't start with something that triggers you. Start with something that's simple. And give it just a few seconds if that's all you can do. And then build on that. And imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with you, wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into your crown, and think my guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of 3 circles. He would always say that to seal a practice. So you'd say, in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. There is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, you can place it there for a little while. So you can think of all phenomena as being empty. They don't exist from their own side. You can also think that perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so if you do have in your practice a teacher who you might want to wish to live for a long time, so just hold that person in your heart now and just make strong prayers that they live a long time, and particularly for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then if Lamsa Rinpoche was your teacher or one of your teachers, make a strong, you can, if you wish, make a strong wish for Rinpoche to return swiftly as the unmistaken reincarnation. All right, everyone. Much love. Thank you so much for hosting, Michael and Shayla and whoever else was involved in keeping the doors guarded. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much. Sleep well, everybody.